taking you on a journey through the world of music, from old school hits and classics to today's biggest projects. The only station that covers heavy metal to hip hop and R&B and everything in between. The sound of the people is CTR.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to CTR. I know I said this was coming yesterday. I know I said it was coming after the podcast. I am sorry. But the podcast took a little bit longer to upload, and then by the time it did upload, I was thinking, it's going to be like an hour until I can upload the next one. So I wasn't going to do that. So today we are back now. So we might as well talk about the album I was going to talk about yesterday. Today we are talking about RTJ4, aka Run the Jewels 4, also known as the fourth album that, you guessed it, Run the Jewels has produced. It came out last Wednesday, June 3rd. It is just under 14 minutes. I nearly said 30 then. But yeah, it's a really good album, this. If you don't know who Run the Jewels is, by the way, just a little bit of a backstory. It's a duo of Killa Mike and LP. It's pretty much a super group, to be honest with you. These two came together back in 2013. The original album that they released for free as a digital download. Really good. If you haven't picked up that or listened to it, or even managed to get your hands on it in any way, just go give that a listen. It's really good. I would say Run the Jewels is really good of using that sort of really heavily synthesized rap music, sort of beats, and then mixing it with a bit of rock, sort of mixing up all the beats with totally different styles on every single song that they make. Really good, and it's no different with this album. This album starts off with a song called it's part 4 of Yankee and the Babe. Really good. There's loads of features on this on this album. You've got DJ Premier, you've got Pharrell Williams, you've got Josh Potter, you've got 2 Chainz, you've got so many people who've contributed to this album. There's some people who I didn't even know I had to look up before I even talked about it. There's a few songs on this where I'm surprised at the direction that they go in, because it's a little bit of old school hip hop, 1980s sort of vibe. Especially with the first 4 songs, and you can tell that DJ Premier has his fingerprints all over this song. You even get some credit, as I say, on one of the songs, but I feel like he's had a lot of influence on this album in terms of making some of the beats for him. Especially from, as I say, the first 4 songs, it's it mainly focuses on, early 80s inspired hip-hop beats. It even samples Funky Enough by DLC on the second song. If you listen to that really carefully, you can hear that. One of the really good songs that is on it is Walking in the Snow. That has a really good transition. It's got a hip-hop beat at the start, and then halfway through it sort of cuts to more sort of rocky metal sort of music. And that happens throughout the rest of the album, especially, as I say, into the later half. It's more focuses on metal sort of vibes mixed with a bit of trans hip-hop, electronic sort of vibe. I know I'm saying a whole load of different genres in one, but it really is hard to describe Run the Jewels sort of style unless you've listened to them before. As I say, if you haven't, definitely go listen to other music before you listen to this album, mainly just to settle you in. But if you want to jump right into it, I definitely recommend listening to this. My favourite song on this is either Just, which features Pharrell Williams. Really good song. You've got Out of Sight with 2 Chainz. Really good song. 2 Chainz really shows his chops in this album as well. I mean, not a lot of people rating for his lyricism. I think he's pretty good, to be quite honest with you. But in this feature, he's very, very good. As I say, DJ Premier killing it once again with a special beat on this album. And I say, I do have a feeling that he contributed a lot more than just one beat to this album. Really good album. It came out a week ago, but I just thought I really wanted to talk about it really quick. Just give it some praise, shine a little bit of a light on it. Because I feel like, number one, not a lot of people listen to Run the Jewels, and number 2, more people need to start listening to Run the Jewels, and maybe you'll take advice from me and listen to it. If you're a fan of hip hop, if you're a fan of late 80s, early 90s hip hop, and you're a fan of people paying homage, paying a bit of tribute to that sort of music, then defo this is the album for you. I would say go listen to it. As I say, it's under 40 minutes long, and if I was to give it a rating, give me think about that for a second. Because I'm pretty sure I rated Lady Gaga's album last week an 8.5. H's when it was an 8. I do think this is better than H's album that he brought out about a similar time last week. I mean, you can't really compare the Lady Gaga album because it's a completely different genre. So I'm going to give it an 8.5. And that is a high rating, and I do think it deserves it. As I say, go listen to it. There's quite a lot of great features. The beats on it are fantastic, classic Run the Jewels style, just totally changing the game. Totally sounds different than anyone else in the game right now. As I say, I think one of the most underrated groups of maybe this generation, especially from, like, as I say, they started out in 2013. Killer Mike's always been good. He first debuted on an Outkast album a few years ago. LP has always been good. Killer Mike owns his own record label. I believe that's what they produce the Run the Jewels albums on. And as I say, it was really good. I believe it was just like a bit of a test when they first started, because they released the first album, you know, for free as a digital download. So, you know, it's just up and up. Run the Jewels, number 4, always going to be a good album. Ever since I heard about it, I heard it was coming out a couple of weeks before, just because it was just like a new look on like this news website I was looking at, and it was like, you know, get ready for this album to drop. I was like, oh, I can't wait for that. And then I was on Spotify, and it was like new releases, and it came out last week. I was like, oh crap, yeah, I definitely need to talk about that. I defo need to shine a light on that on this month of music. As I say, we are focusing on the women, but like, you know, you can't like let an album like this pass up, because it's just a fantastic project. But yeah, guys, as I say, it's going to be an 8.5 for me. I would say definitely 100% go give this a listen. It's under 40 minutes long. I know I'm just repeating myself, but I'm just summarising, you know, summing it up at the end. Go and give this a listen, especially if you're a fan of hip-hop and you're a fan of people, you know, who sound a little bit different, you know, sort of move differently than everyone else in the music industry, which is always a good thing to hear. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, slap a like on it. I love doing this, like, you know, little quick album reviews for you guys. I think it's like a little bit of a better platform than, you know, just doing like long ass videos, you know, for every single album that comes out. I prefer this type of way, you know, it's just like, you know, to get my initial thoughts out there, as I say. But yeah, as I say, slap a like, subscribe to the channel if you do like this sort of content that I'm pushing out. Go listen to the podcast yesterday, because we started part 1 of the series of the women of the music industry. It's a really good watch. If you do want to follow us on any of the platforms, we're on Instagram at Charts Upper Radio, we're on Facebook at Charts Upper Radio, we are on Twitter at Charts Upper Radio. Oof, what else is it to talk about? As I say, this is your official isolation station while we're still in lockdown, guys. But as for that, I hope you've had a good weekend, and I hope you have a good rest of the week. I will chat to you guys on Sunday. Peace out, guys.
Chart Topper Radio.